A month ago, I was looking at my video game collection and I wanted to tackle one of the Megaton games that are unfortunately still in my backlog. After speaking with friends, my choice landed on SMT Devil Survivor, and I must say, this is the best game that I've played in years. What's up everyone, this is David. I make a bunch of Atlus, Megaton, and Persona content. I post a video twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 PM Eastern Time. So if you want to stay up to date, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Now, let's talk about why Devil Survivor is breathtaking. I'll start with the story. I must say that the story is one of the best aspects of this game. During your first hour of gameplay, you get thrown right into the action. The combat and mechanics are clearly explained very quickly, and you can also understand what's going on in the story very fast. You'll get introduced to comps, the machines that allow humans to summon demons and to basically survive. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but your cast of character in this game is stuck inside the lockdown that your government started in Tokyo. This lockdown is not explained to the citizen at first, but you'll very quickly understand that it's due to the existence of demons. You and your group of friends will try to solve the mystery of the lockdown, and it's really intriguing. What I appreciated so much about this story is that it tackles very important subjects such as corruption, politics, what's the human brain thinking when you get a hold of too much power, etc. It's just extremely unique, and that's what makes the story so good for me. Oh, and the story is played in days, so you basically play through a day at a time, and you have to make certain choices sometimes because you can't do everything in a certain day. You'll be missing sometimes if you try to do everything. And speaking of decisions, there's a big impact on player choices in this game, and you can see the direct consequences of your actions. For example, you might have to choose between saving a character or another. You can also do the right decisions because of a gimmick called the death clock. The gimmick is an ability part of the comp that I was talking about, and it allows the leader of a party to see how many days a certain person has left to live. With that in mind, you must do the right decisions to survive and escape the lockdown and try to save as many of your friends as possible. As I said, the main cast for this game is super good, all the characters are interesting, the interactions between the characters are super great as well, and I really have to point out the voice acting for this game. It's extremely well done, and if you don't know, it's actually an addition for the Overclocked version of this game, so the 3DS version of this game. Atsuro is one of your friend. He's a character that I really liked, that's why I want to talk about him. He's extremely brilliant, but he's also a bit stupid and funny at certain times. To describe him, I have to use a very out of the blue comparison, but I'd say he's a mix between Ryuji from P5 and Light Yagami from Death Note. Like, he's a fuck, but he's also a mastermind, basically. So that's the way that I'd like to explain him, but I really enjoy this character. Then you also have a girl named Yuzu, or Yuhu, I don't really know how it's pronounced, but it's a girl that seems pretty simple at first, but I ended up liking her as a character. You'll find other characters that will appear, such as Kesuke Midori. Basically, Keisuke is a crybaby, and Midori is one of the most annoying characters that I met in years. Her voice is something to make your ears bleed, honestly. You'll also meet Kaido, who's pretty much a savage at times, you know. He's really cool. He likes to do his own things. He's too cool for you, basically. And then you have Nahoya, which is the protagonist's cousin. He's the one that invented the comps. He's a mastermind. He's a genius, and he works with an organization, or at least he used to work with an organization called the Shomokai. And there's that whole mystery surrounding him that kept me invested in this character very much from start to finish. Some of the characters that aren't in the main party have specific reasons of why they want to escape the lockdown as soon as possible, and believe me, some of them are really intense. There's a dude named Honda that comes to mind at first. Basically, this dude is stuck inside the Yamanote Circle's lockdown just as you, but his son is currently undergoing surgery where he might not even survive this surgery. So it's really intense, and you can definitely understand his motive of why he wants to get out of this lockdown as soon as possible. And you can, if you think about it, you know, the human mind will definitely do some weird choices when there's such a big motive to leave, for example, a lockdown. So this is extremely interesting. And oh yeah, one more thing before I move away from the characters. Don't get too attached to some of them, okay? People die in this game, they're completely gone. Forever. You don't play as them anymore, so don't get too attached. Okay, now that's enough for the story and characters, or this review will be way too long. I'll talk about other things now. This game has a bunch of really good mechanics. One of them is the Devil Auction. It's just as its name says, it's an auction where you get to bet on certain demons to add them to your party. Yes, demo negotiation is over, and this mechanic was a good addition in my opinion. It happened pretty often for me where I had to get a specific demon for a specific fight during my playthrough, so I really appreciated the Devil Auction. It made things simpler. When you needed a specific demon, you go to Devil Auction, you bet on it. Oh, and one cool thing about this, the other demon tamers that are part of the auction, that are betting on the demons at the same time as you, are named after past SMT characters, which I thought was a pretty cool reference. One of them was Finnegan. That's when I noticed it's Finnegan from Devil Summoner Soul Hackers that I just played, so that's why I realized. And then I started to think about the names, and yes, there's a few returning names that you'll see, and I thought that was a pretty cool reference. Another extremely good thing about this game, which this point will be to no surprise to every Megaten fan, but the soundtrack is god tier. I swear that anything that Shoji Meguro touches is always a masterpiece. One of the other aspects of the game that will be familiar to SMT fans is the alignment system. Yes, it is present in this game, and yes, it's also very freaking good. At a certain point, you have to choose, do I kill the demons, the angels, or you say, fuck it, I just kill everyone, basically. So this is where you get to choose, do you want the chaos alignment part, or you want the neutral? The combat, I must say, is one of the best things and one of the things that I liked the most about this game. It's a mix between tactical combat, you know, Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics style of combat, and the simpler combat system than classic Megaten. What I mean by the simpler Megaten combat system is it's basically the combat that you're used to, but it's in 1 or 2 turns top, depending on your actions. It's to keep the combat as short as possible. You basically spend 30 seconds to a minute in each combat phases, and this way of doing combat I thought was really unique. It's something that I really appreciated, since there's the strategy involved in the placement of your characters depending on the weaknesses of the demons and the ability of your party members, and there's also the classic SMT combat that you know and love. Of course, since it's an SMT title, the difficulty level is pretty high. One thing that I appreciated is that there's no major difficulty spike, in my opinion. It's just pretty hard from start to finish. You have to think before acting, and as mentioned previously, there is certain boss fights where you have to get certain spells / demons to succeed. The bell bosses are hard as balls, you know, they're really hard. You'll have to beat them, you'll have to retry them multiple times before you beat them, or either that or I just suck, but there's some of them that I had to try multiple times before I was able to succeed. Oh, also, the combat is in form of missions. So the missions that you get depend on where you go at a certain time of the day. There's some missions where you have to save civilians and they must survive. If one dies, game over. Normally, when you have to do this type of missions in video games, it's pretty much always utter garbage. But in Devil Survivor, the UI is not trash, and those missions work really well, which was a surprise. I was expecting them to be garbage, but they're not. As I said, I won't be spoiling anything for you guys, but the choices that you'll make throughout the story will have an impact on the ending that you get. For my part, I played through one particular ending that I don't want to talk about, but I also read all of them, and I can safely say now that all of them are pretty good, even the bad endings in brackets. Near the end of the game, you really feel the tension in the streets of Tokyo. People are tired of the lockdown, and a bunch of citizens now have access to comps and demons. Too much power equals becoming crazy, so everyone is rioting, everyone is fighting in the streets to survive. The atmosphere is just on another level. Overall, I need to recommend this game to everyone, whether you're a Megaten fan or not. If you like JRPGs with an amazing story and a top-notch combat system, you'll like Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. This game is super cheap. A physical copy of the DS version is like $20, and a 3DS one will cost around $30 to $40 complete. So, of course, if it's easy to emulate DS as well, so if you're into this sort of thing, you can always go that route, but those games are really, really, really good. So that's it, guys, for my discussion, my review about SMT Devil Survivor. I hope you liked it. This game is a masterpiece. I can't recommend it enough. You should definitely all check it out. Thank you guys so much for your time. If you liked the video, don't hesitate to give me your thumbs up. That really helps to support the channel. And as I said at the beginning, if you want more content on anything Shin Megami Tensei, Atlas, or Persona, please consider hitting that subscribe button.